So you said that some things are unconscious, and you're 100% true. Like I said, the human genome is pretty much the same. We have different genotypes and phenotypes, but the genes themselves are identical. And so things are always going to be a certain way. Chemicals are always going to act a certain way. So just for example, you have this whole situation where football has become this massive international spectacle, and you have the two greatest athletes, the two greatest footballers ever to play in the same, both playing in the same generation. One is called Cristiano Ronaldo, the other one is called Lionel Messi. So now in Hebrew, the word Messiah, Mashiach, means anointed one, and in Greek, the word Christos means anointed one as well. So Cristiano means Christian, and Messi is Messiah, the Hebrew word for anointed one. So both Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo are called anointed one, just one in Hebrew and the other in Greek. So Messi, Cristiano, Messiah, Christ. Now, does somebody plan these things? Not necessarily. We underestimate the power of our genes and the power of chemistry and the power of our consciousness, our desires to influence our genes. And so these things could just be happening, I wouldn't say randomly, but it's as if we choose for them to happen. Our consciousness enables our genes to follow a certain path. So he also spoke about the rhetoric, which is confusing. On one hand, Christians say that you have to believe in Jesus, which I didn't like that, but I'm fine with it now. As I said, there's the prophecy that even though they're false teachers and they're not capable of transferring the Spirit of God to somebody else, they're just people in a religion who stole the Bible, created their own mythology, and it's like the most powerful. It's like a super religion. So nobody goes to heaven. You said something about going to heaven. The Bible very clearly says that nobody goes to heaven. When you die, you're dead. You go into the ground, to the place of death. In Greek, it's called Hades. In Hebrew, it's called Sheol. In English, it's called hell. But hell was a goddess in Norse mythology, who was the Earth Mother, and so everybody who died went into her. That's where they got the word hell from. But there's no hell, right? There are various words in the Bible translated as hell, but there's no actual hell. So hell simply means the place where dead people go. So in that sense as well, heaven was made for the angels. Heaven wasn't made for humans. So some people were taken into heaven, like Enoch and Moses. They were, and Elijah. They were in the resurrection. Before the resurrection, they were in the resurrection, just God's special children. But everybody else who dies goes into death. There's a place where dead people are kept, where they're stored. And there are different chambers within that place. So the very good people, the holy people, go sleep in peace. And then the most evil people will have a place of torment. And then there are other partitions in between that as well. But in the judgment, so there are two resurrections. In the first resurrection are the children of God, the children who God knew, who God had made within himself before he even made the world. So he'll resurrect those first, and he'll judge them. And the ones of them who betrayed him, who were unfaithful to him, they'll have to join the rest of the world. But in the book of Revelation, Jesus returns. There's an army that's going to come and fight him once they realize that all they can do is just launch war against him. Then he'll win that war, and then he'll set up his city, Jerusalem, where the eternal children of God live, his firstborn children, which is humans who he gives transcendental. He basically promotes them to being a new species. So God then shows off his transcendental children to the whole world. So, and they live in a city which will be called Jerusalem. And everybody outside the city will have to look and see, well, this is the children of God, these immortals. So that's what Jesus is bringing, but nobody goes to heaven, right? You go to the grave and you wait for the resurrection, or you wait for judgment. Then when God comes, then he'll judge the whole world. Everybody who's dead will be judged, and some people will be thrown into a lake of fire and they'll be destroyed, and other people, because of their goodness, their good works, will be allowed to take part in his kingdom. And Jesus as well, at his coming, he'll do the same thing, because he said he'll reward those who even just did something to his brother, right? If you help my brother, you're my brother, basically. So Jesus will tell those people, whoever you are, because you help my brother, I'm going to accept you into my kingdom. Right, so back to the fear of God. In the New Testament, there's a part where near the end, an angel comes forth and he preaches it says he had the everlasting gospel, or the eternal gospel, to preach those who dwell on the earth. So you'd imagine, well, the eternal gospel is Jesus, right? But no, he preaches the eternal gospel, which is fear God. So it's basically saying that a time is going to come in the world where a message is going to go out to the whole world to fear God, just like the revival where everybody was filled with fear and scared for their sins and destruction and all of that. But anyway, so this message is going to go out to fear God. So, and that's because the Christian message was, this is all prophecy. I can't really get into it. We don't have time. But God only allowed 400 years from Jesus, 400 years of people who carried the Holy Spirit. After that, they've created fake Christianity, and no new Christians were coming in because the two things look the same. So all the Christians with the Spirit of God in them died out. And so a 400-year period, the whole Jesus thing, the whole Christianity of the Bible ended. So since then until now, there's been no Christianity, and everybody believing they're Christians has been mistaken. Just following a Bible religion, basically, not following God. And that's because there's a lack of faith. I mean, faith is where you say, I believe in the invisible God, not I believe in a God that I have to read a book about. Right? I mean, obviously that makes sense. If you think your God is so weak that he needs a book, then, that's not faith. So religion is for the weak people who don't have faith, which is why it's very dangerous. So yes, the time will come when people will be made to fear God, probably synthesized using electromagnetic radiation, which is actually very easy. If you just look at the science, it's very easy to manipulate people's brains, the cells, nerves, neurons in your body. There's even a Google patent for embedding code in a screen, which can change the way your body behaves, where you can put subliminal messages through a screen or change a person's cellular activity. And there's other science as well, but I won't get into it. But it's possible to create a fear of God using our phones. But again, it's inevitable.